Welcome to Starbridge Mom, I'm Jessica. You're watching the Halloween series, and this video is all about Samhain and Christianity. This is a big one, talking about Halloween, and I expect there's a lot of people that watch it are looking for information about the history of the holiday, or if there's what the debate is between Christians and people who celebrate Halloween. You're not going to find that here. What you are going to find is a little bit of information and some alternative suggestions. So, Halloween is a secular American folk holiday. It's not the same as Samhain. However, Halloween is rooted in pagan beliefs, and that had to do with the Celtic holiday Samhain. So we learn from history that ancient Celts were conquered by the Romans, but survived and kept their traditions going in places around the world such as Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and Brittany. Then came the early churches, which worked to convert pagans and convert pagan temples into churches. When Christianity was created, many pagan traditions were taken and converted to Christian beliefs and holidays. About 1200 years ago, church leaders wanted to change Samhain into a Christian celebration. Many of the rituals and stories of Samhain became vilified. As we know, fear divides. It controls, it manipulates, it lies, it traps us. Fear also feeds the lower astral, which is covered briefly in the fairy video. But people became frightened of pagans, and people are still frightened of pagans. Eventually, the ancient ways of Samhain became associated with the Christian devil. So Christianity, part of the fear that comes with over Halloween is that Christians believe that this holiday has a lot to do with worshiping the devil. It doesn't. Christianity, they believe in Satan, in the devil. They think that this holiday has to do with demons and evil spirits hurting the living. And this is where we get things like All Saints Day, November 1st, and All Souls Day. So on All Saints Day, this is a day when Christians took Samhain and changed it to mean that the saints were chasing all the demons back to hell. And the Celts revered Samhain. They weren't worshiping demons and bringing evil onto the world. They revered this holiday because they understood that this is a time of year when the veil is thin and the physical, the incarnate, us human beings can interact with the spiritual realm. And it's a closer opportunity than at any other time during the year. The spirits walk among us, and they handled that with great care and honor. There was not a celebration of death. It was not to celebrate dying or evil things done to harm other people. These were rituals to honor their ancestors. It was to celebrate the cycle of life and death, and also the connection that when we connect with our ancestors, we have a lot of love and support that we can tap into. In history, we learned that Pope Boniface in the 5th century, he was the one that worked to get the Samhain traditions to be converted into Christian traditions. And then it took until the 9th century in the 830s when Pope Gregory IV really got a strong hold of that whole agenda. And he was able to change the Samhain traditions into Christian traditions and give it Christian meaning. So he declared November 1st as All Saint Days and November 2nd as All Souls Days. And these holidays, they don't celebrate the changing season. They don't make contact with the spirit world. They're not honoring and welcoming ancestors. All Souls Day was to celebrate souls getting into heaven and to pray for those that are in purgatory. Basically, Samhain is about the veil between the living and the dead, and also about agricultural changes with the season. When we get down to it, the church is about exalting the saints. As much as the early church wanted to abolish pagans and their traditions, Samhain was never really totally snuffed out. The church changed Samhain to All Hallows Eve, which is the night before honoring the saints, but eventually this name changed into Halloween. That's where we get the name Halloween, from All Hallows Eve. By the 1800s, the Irish immigrants were coming into America because of the potato famine, and with them they brought their beliefs, which brought Samhain traditions and folklore to America. This is how we got secular Halloween in America as we know it now, because by the 1920s, it became this mixed bag of rituals and traditions, ideas and beliefs, and marketing. So I'm not going to spend a great deal of time and effort going over all the details of how the early churches worked to convert people. There's a lot of horrible things that happened to not just pagans when Christianity came around to get people to convert. What I will say is this: time changes everything. We lose ideas, we change ideas. We lose beliefs, we change our beliefs. Places change over time, whether it's due to environment and disasters or people. Places change. And some of them are even hidden. We're still discovering certain places that are hidden from us, that are buried in the earth or flooded over. And then there's also people over throughout history that have hidden actual information and documents from future generations so that we forget and never know the truth behind the things that went on or where we come from. Many of the big changes throughout history are due to a person or a group of people that have an agenda to rule over another place or another group of people, and it has to do with power. So fear, division, smear campaigns, isolation, these are tactics of abusive people that abuse power and have disregard for other people's way of life. Instead of dwelling on who's right or wrong when it comes to history, the he said, she said, when it comes to pagan holidays and Christian beliefs, I'd like to suggest an alternative. We can't undo things that have happened in the past, but we can take responsibility for our present time, how we treat each other now and going forward in the future, and for future generations, what they're going to learn about us now. So I believe firmly in the need to know our roots, to understand our lineage, our history, where we come from. The trek through history can be difficult, but also very rewarding. When we create traditions and stories, we have a sense of who we are in our family and who we are in the world at large, and it reduces the feeling of division and separateness. So how can we heal our lineage? So like I said earlier, we can't undo the past, but we can do things like ancestor reverence work, which does work across the timeline, past, present, future. How can we heal ourselves? How can old, ancient ways become part of our modern lives in a practical way that serves our highest good? How can we connect to our roots and ancestors and learn from them? All of us have ancestors that lived before religion, before churches. We all have ancestors connected to pagan beliefs. So what can we learn about those times? How much can we expand our consciousness and expand on our connection to beings and things outside of the physical world? How much can we connect with the divine, with the creator, and with the earth in honoring ways? I think the takeaway about Samhain and Halloween is that we can have fun in all the secular aspects. The trick-or-treating, the candy, dressing up, partying, eating, all of that can be really fun. But also take time to remember to honor the changing season, the earth, to feel for your roots and see where that might guide you. People don't need to share all the same beliefs and holidays, and we also don't need to vilify people for being different from our beliefs and our way of life. I believe in do no harm, and that it doesn't matter if you're sitting your ass in a church or under a tree. When you have loving intent, then we are all connected to Source and to the ultimate creator. With that said, I will see you in the next video.